Hey all, hey all, hey all. So we're talking about a little fast. Um, this is gonna be fun. I went fasting for 14 days. So I got to take you back a little story. Why would I ever even do that? Like, why would you? If you're, I'm curious if you know it all. Why would you even try that? Most people, would have thought it was crazy. And here's the honest truth though, is that I didn't wasn't starting for 14 days. I was gonna. My goal was 10 days but to really understand why I would do a 14-day fast, you have to kind of go back a little bit. I was 26 years old, just a little over, and I came from a military background. I was a former recon marine. I was in radio reconnaissance, so I did all this crazy fun, crazy neat stuff, right? And then I went and played college football. 2 years into my college career in football, I was told that if I don't stop, I probably won't walk when I'm 30. It's kind of eye-opening experience. And it wasn't long after that I just started my health started declining. I moved to Southern California from Minnesota, and I couldn't even walk around the block. I was taking the ball and I was throwing down the steps with my dog, and I knew something was wrong, right? And it's like, so thinking about then, if I would have thought about when I first started my journey, if I'm not going to eat for 14 days, I would have said, no way, that's never going to happen. But after a couple years of trying everything, have you know anybody that's tried it all? You're like, I've tried everything. I hear that all the time. I'm like, you probably haven't tried everything, Merlin. You probably haven't. I thought I tried everything. I hadn't tried everything. I had tried everything that I could see in front of me, right? And I'd hired a naturopathic doctor, holistic doctor, a functional doctor. Now, back in the early 2000s and late 1990s, those doctors really didn't exist much. Like it was kind of like voodoo doctors and regular doctors. But Chinese medicine, I tried that. I even met a doctor from. He was in Chernobyl. Think about this. I met this Russian doctor in Chernobyl, and we were talking about my liver enzymes and how all these things of what was going on. I actually, when I drank alcohol, I felt normal. I was like, and he's like trying to understand all this, but I didn't feel good. Something was wrong. Didn't know what it was. And not soon after that, I got diagnosed with the condition, and I was really eye open. I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's, and I just felt devastated. I was like, okay, maybe this was what's wrong, but how do you fix it, right? How do you fix this whole thing? And it was crazy story, crazy journey. And after getting all these treatments done by holistic doctors, functional doctors, Chinese doctors, Russian doctors, traditional doctors, medical doctors, what I realized is I need to kind of reset the button, right? I need to do a reset. I'm like, what about me? What's my responsibility in this whole thing? I'm asking all the doctors to tell me what to do, but I wasn't really figuring out me. And so I decided to go on this 10-day fast and not eat food for 10 flipping days. I was just going to drink water. I had mineral water. I was going to drink lots of water. Now I was pretty confident in my ability to do this. I knew it was going to be hard, but I was going to go for a try because I was reading. Yes, that's kind of crazy thing. I was reading about how fasting can create a kind of a reset state. So 5 days into the fast, I'm actually helping a friend move. And they were not moving, excuse me, they were breaking up concrete. And I was going to go over there and watch because I felt so crappy that I wasn't going to be very much help for him. And so I was going to go watch. Well, I felt pretty good that day. I woke up and I just like, I feel good. 5 days after no food, I felt really good. Like it woke me up. I like, felt completely different. And I started helping. I outworked every single person there. They ordered pizza and beer and everything else. I didn't eat anything. I just drank my water. I had a big gallon jug of water and drinking it down. No, it was not a glass bottle. It was a plastic bottle of water. And I drank my gallon of water. I just kept working and working. I moved so much concrete that day. I got home and I felt great. I didn't wake up the next day all sore and tired and miserable. I felt good. I'm like, something's going on in this fast. Something is changing inside of me. What is it? At that time, you couldn't go Google anything, right? I had to go out and start searching for answers. And what it was, does anybody know the answer? What happened to me? Does anybody know what happened to me after day 5? Just curious. Just curious. Ashley Marie, just curious. Anybody know what happened to me in day 5? In day 5, I went into therapeutic ketosis. What does that mean? My ketones, I was in a deep ketosis. My levels of ketones were elevated. It took me 5 days 5 days of no food. So I think about this. I am actually considered a very high level athlete. Depends on who you ask. Depends on who I'm compared to. I was a former military guy that competed and did some really gnarly stuff. I'm extremely committed. I was in the fitness industry. I worked out on a regular basis. I ate clean. Already ate low carb. I wasn't keto necessarily before this. I was low carb. I was in and out of ketosis to some degree, but I wasn't deep in ketosis. 5 days of no food. It took my body 5 full days to tap into the store and get this clarity and energy and focus and move and start feeling better. When at the same time, literally 5 days earlier, I couldn't even walk my dog around the block. I would have to throw the ball down the stairs just so my dog could go for a walk. My dog is a black lab. She was a black lab and she loved to run. And I felt like, I mean, I didn't have kids yet, y'all. I thank goodness. My wife asked me the other day, she goes, Dustin, she goes, how different would our life be if you would have had that happen to you now? And I broke down just crying. I was like, I couldn't even imagine. I couldn't even imagine barely getting out of bed. I couldn't imagine just going to the bathroom was work. Not be able to go outside, moody, edgy, grumpy all the time, faking it, smiling when you're outside in front of people, then coming home and just sitting on the couch and feeling like miserable about yourself. That was normal life until 5 days in deep ketosis. Once I got into deep ketosis, it changed. I'm like, I'm going forever. I'm never gonna eat food again. Well, that's not gonna be a recipe of success. I'm never gonna eat again. Anybody ever thought that one? I'm never gonna eat again. But I was deep in ketosis, and all I thought to myself is, I'm gonna keep going. So I'm in 10 days. I hit my 10-day mark and I'm like, I feel good. I felt so good that my clients are like, I want to do what you're doing. I'm like, I don't know if you want to go without eating for 10 days. I had a couple do it, by the way. And I went for 14 days. And after 14 days, what I realized is my body started shifting again. And I felt some changes that I didn't necessarily like after 14 days. So I started implementing food. Now, this is the story. I actually did a post about it earlier. This is what I didn't tell everybody. For an entire year after that 14 days, I added one food back a week. Could you imagine? Like, this is back in the early 2000s, like 2002. This is before anybody understood this concept that you could do a diet, like anybody that mainstream knew about it. And I had to add one food back. If I added back something like a banana and I felt like crap, I didn't add the banana back for the entire year. I didn't add any of it back. Why? Because I felt crappy. And I'm like, bananas must be bad for me. That's what I initially thought. I realized there was something going on. I didn't understand it yet scientifically, but I realized something was going on. And after 1 year, I eat that way today. I taught myself the ketogenic diet the hardest flipping possible way ever. That's what I did. I taught myself the ketogenic diet ignorantly. I don't ever brag to be a smart guy. I got some knowledge, but I like to challenge myself and do everything back-assward in the hardest way possible. And so I'm deep in ketosis. I'm 14 days in, and I started learning how to live in ketosis. Now, for that year was a tough year, by the way, because when you feel really good and then you eat something you feel really bad, you kind of remind you how miserable you are. You don't want to be reminded how miserable you are. Does that make sense? Like, it's never a good thing to be reminded how miserable you are. It's never fun. But that's what happened throughout the year. But I was catching on, and I started teaching other people. Well, you don't have to go 14 days. What if you just start eating more like this? Well, I started doing some homework. You couldn't Google anything, by the way, right? Back then, you couldn't Google the word ketones in the early 2000s. Nothing came up, y'all. There was nothing out there. It was out there, like it was in textbooks and like university books and scientific magazines and literature, but it wasn't in actual Google. And so I started teaching more people, and I started noticing the other people getting these benefits. Well, coming from having an autoimmune disorder, having a brain injury, needing joint replacements, I needed my knees replaced when I was 23 years old. So my body wasn't responding well. Like, my hip is really bad right now. It needs to get replaced really bad. And so you ever see me limping, you know why? I just had both my shoulders had reconstruction, and they basically cut all the bones off, and they had to restructure them. Like, my body was a wreck a long time ago. So I started teaching people how to utilize this fuel source called ketones. But then there was a challenge, is that I felt better. And I noticed when people were deep in ketosis, they felt better, but they almost always quit. And how disappointing it is when it's like you can show somebody the winning lottery ticket and they always throw it away or they rip it up. If that makes any sense. Hey, Kathy Barrett. Hey, Kathy, what's your weight at? Am I going to see you, Kathy, by the way, in more? I'm going to be in Louisville, Kentucky next week. Who's coming? Who's coming to town? So 14 days of no food changed my life forever. But it was day 5 that I recognized there was something happening that mattered. Well, now fast forward, all those doctors I worked with, every single one of those, every single doctor I worked with Now, I was advising them on a new way of living their life. It's kind of unique because the teacher or the student became the teacher. Kind of weird, right? The reason why is none of these doctors were taught this concept behind fasting. All these naturopathic holistic doctors were like forcing these supplements down me, and I was taking all this stuff. I'm taking all this stuff, and I'm like, wait a minute, like I'm not getting that much better, right? What if I just took everything away and started over clean? And the number one thing happened was therapeutic ketosis. And so I want everybody to know, because I know I have some big followers in different places, that being in ketosis is really important. Kathy Berry down 243 pounds. Kathy, that just inspires me. I'm telling you, just amazing. I know Derek's on. Derek is doing some amazing things out there in Arizona right now, and he's on a big journey himself, and that also inspires me. But what I want to share with y'all is that people go all the time like I did a clubhouse. I'm not a clubhouse guy. I'm not a clubhouse. I'm doing a clubhouse, and these people are on there like, you got to eat. You should be eating your food from a farm. I'm like, you don't live in America, do you? Like, there's a small percentage of people that can literally hide under a rock and eat organic grass-fed food from a cow from the farm. But once you put 3 kids in international business and life and travel and everything else, you got to find a way to do the best you can. And so for me today to do that 14-day fast probably wouldn't happen well. For me today to stay in ketosis therapeutically without having support and tools probably wouldn't happen very well. And so this is part of my talk, is to tell people, like, if you're on your high horse, just do the diet. You either have the most basic life in the world, and congratulations if you can pull that off, because I didn't choose that style. I chose chaos and a lot of fun things all at once. Or you have a metabolic system that's just special, meaning that you didn't break. But what I found is the majority of America is busy, they're stressed, they're overworked, they don't have the wisdom and knowledge, and their body's metabolic system has been affected, meaning that you're not burning fat very well. I was set up to burn fat, y'all. As an athlete, as a Marine, I was primed to be good at burning body fat, and it still took me 5 days with no food to wake up. 5 days with no food to wake up. What is my mom going to need? What is my sister going to need? What does my wife need? What is the world going to need if it took me 5 days, which I was primed and ready to go? So this is, if you want to wake up and you're doing a keto anything, I don't care what it is. If you're not doing keto, if you want to wake your brain up, get yourself into deep ketosis and maintain it for a sustainable amount of time. Meaning, I did it for a year. And once I did it for a year, I did it for another 15. Did I mess up? Yes, many times. Did I make mistakes? Yes, many times. Have you ever went to a bachelor party and try to stay keto at a bachelor party and still have fun? Anyone? Anyone? Yeah, I was that jackass. I tried doing that, and guess what? I didn't have any fun. It was horrific. I was like, you shouldn't eat that. It was just an emotional stress nightmare. Wouldn't want to recommend that to anybody. So stay in deep ketosis. It's one of the reasons why I drink ketones every day. This is actually my favorite flavor. I drink them every day. Why? Because I don't want to have to worry about being a deep ketosis through a diet. I don't want to have to go 5 days. I do 24-hour fast. I do a 60-hour fast once a month. I don't want to go 5 days. I don't want to track my macros every day. I don't want to analyze everything every day, because guess what? I have 3 kids at home. We hope to expand our family. I want to travel. I'm getting ready to travel next week. I want to stay up late one night and not mess up my system, right? I love corn chips. I want to have some corn chips and not worry that it's going to kick me out of ketosis. Yes, I like corn chips. Yes, I do. If I go to Italy, I want a piece of pizza and not have to track it. But here's the thing. If my body, because of my joint replacements, because of my proneness to having degenerative joint challenges, because of Hashimoto's, because of my brain injury, if I'm out of ketosis, everybody in the world, or everybody in my world, sorry, and I'm not that famous, everybody in my world is affected by it. And I owe it to them to stay there. And so what I do is this is what I do. I eat usually around 11 o'clock each day, 11 to 1, depending on today, I was almost 2 o'clock. I usually stopped eating by 8. I usually eat with dinner, 6 or 7. I may have some desserts from time to time, like a low carb dessert. Primarily eat proteins. I focus on proteins. I eat a variety of low carb vegetables, and I drink ketones twice a day. Every once in a while, I have a brain shake, I call it. I have a brain shake that I make for my kids and myself. And that's what I do. And then 90% of the time, I'm on target. 10% of the time, I went to a birthday party and I had 2 corn tortillas, and then everything else was just protein based. That's what I did. but I still drank my ketones every day. And it was a recipe for success. Now, 7 years later, I'm very confident that I can stay in deep ketosis continuously, thrive and live, and help other people live a better life. So, y'all, I appreciate it for plugging in with me, but 14 days, no food. It's funny because, you've been doing this for a while. And, obviously I promote a product because I want to help people. That's all it is. I just want to help more people. And every once in a while I get people that are just like, they want to find the hard way, but sometimes you have to do it the hard way to realize that the easy way is more enjoyable. And sometimes you just need to have faith and trust in somebody else and just give it a shot. And I'll be interviewing somebody. He doesn't know I'm going to do it, but I'm going to be interviewing somebody soon. His name is David Derek Smallman. And he's inspired me. Somebody I got to meet really recently, and watching his journey and what he's done and his commitment. I don't know if a 14-day fast he could have accomplished it in the state of mind he was in and in the life he was in. But he could do one thing. It was just something basic. 4-4-4. He could do that. He could do the core four. He could do steps. And with that, it created momentum. With momentum, it gave him hope. With hope, he could put more effort into it. With success, he gets more smiles. With success, it starts driving biochemistry to repurpose that success. And he's in a transition to change his life forever. And we need to be able to do that to more people. And we need to be able to give that to more people, because right now the world is sicker than it's ever been. It's more frustrated. It's metabolic more challenge. Obesity is on the rise. And if we don't step in and stop it, our kids are screwed. And I mean that literally. Like, they have no shot, and it's sad, and it's truly sad. And we can do something about it. We just have to wake up and decide, and we have to stick together. For us people that have struggled with energy problems, us have struggled with weight problems, us have struggled with health problems, us have struggled with just life problems. We got to stick together and say, okay, how can we collectively together go out and change more lives? Because some people looked at me as like this healthy guy and fit guy, and he's always in shape. He has buff muscles. I was sicker than almost all my clients, almost all of them. I just faked it better. That's all I did. I just made it look like I wasn't. But in reality, I was sick as ever inside, and I was looking for answers to change that. So if you're having challenges in any capacity, listen, there's answers for you. But the one thing that I'm not ever going to do is I'm not going to baby you for your sicknesses. Guess what? Everybody's got a problem. The reality is, what do you want to do to change it? And let's go do that. The recipe's here. Let's go change it. And if you go put the work in, your life will forever be different. And guess what? Those problems, you're going to learn from them. All my challenges are now strengths moving forward in my life, because I've honored them as part of my journey, right? Thank God I got sick in my 20s. Thank God I lost the use of my legs and my thing. Thank God I forgot my friends in my 20s. Thank God my body was falling apart in the 20s. Because guess what? 40 is way cooler when you're feeling better, when your 20s were miserable, right? So if you're in your 40s and you don't feel great, because you can feel awesome in your 50s. And it gives you wisdom and perspective to move on to the rest of your life. And then you can share that with more people. Don't wait too long. Don't be too perfect too long. Otherwise, you don't learn anything from it. So y'all, have an unbelievable night. I do have to go put the babies down. Actually, my wife's doing most of that right now, but I'm going to go support her. So I will see you guys all in Texas, or not in Texas. We're going Louisville next week. Cheers, y'all.